Your brain decides to fail before you are even aware of it. See, 400 milliseconds before you even realize it is happening, your subconscious has already labeled a task as risky, as painful, as something to avoid. And that is why you don't move. That is why you keep planning instead of launching, why you overthink instead of acting, why you don't do the thing you know you need to do to get to that next level. And that hesitation is not a mindset issue. It is an evolutionary pattern that you haven't yet rewired. And if you don't rewire it, no tactic in the world will save you. Here's something gurus will never tell you. The biggest difference between 6-figure founders and 7-figure founders is not their perfect funnel, the perfect strategy. It's not even IQ, not talent, not even hard work. It's their tolerance to look like an idiot. It's their ability to withstand the possibility of failure. And I've seen this hundreds of times within Selfmastered, my peak performance academy for founders. I've noticed how 6-figure founders come to me after 1 or 2 failures. 7-figure founders come to me after 7, 10, 15 times of not getting what they want. In other words, top 1% entrepreneurs do not expect to win fast. They expect to deserve the win by failing enough to actually get it. That's why these days I'm asking every founder I work with, have you failed enough to deserve the win you are after? If you want more insights from the trenches, working with high-level founders, subscribe to this channel because you're going to get information you won't get anywhere else to help you become the best entrepreneur you could ever be. Now, I get it. Business is hard. Business is mostly a game of staying in the game. But there's a way of making it easier for ourselves. And that way is being faster than anyone else. Because a speed of movement equals a speed of success. The faster you move, the sooner you get the results you want. And successful entrepreneurs are not smarter. They just have tried 10 times more than the average entrepreneurs have even dreamed of starting. And I know most of you watching this video know there's something you should be doing and you haven't started it because you're afraid of getting it wrong. You're trying to be strategic. But you're not. You're really scared of looking dumb, scared of wasting time, scared of not being enough, of not being able to pull it off. But here's the truth. By doing that, you are literally forsaking your ability to get that result. Successful founders have literally had more reps in the mental gym than unsuccessful founders. They're just mentally sore more often. Now, the question you may ask is, where does this fear come from? Why is your subconscious stopping you in your tracks? Well, there's a part of the brain called the amygdala that processes emotion, and specifically negative emotions. And it fires 400 milliseconds before your conscious mind. And that is not a bug, that is a feature. It is what helped our ancestors survive. The problem is that these days, your nervous system is still wired for saber-toothed tigers. These days, a failed sales call triggers the same panic as being chased through the jungle. So what happens? Well, your mind creates faulty thinking. And the more pressure you feel, the more your subconscious shuts down the opportunity before you even can do something about it. And that is a real bottleneck. That is the thing that is keeping you stuck in business. Is your nervous system inability to distinguish between threat and opportunity. That is why you end up organizing your Notion instead of actually making the damn offer, picking up the phone and calling people, sending emails. You're not lazy. You're just overprotected by your own biology. And I understand that you don't want to fail, but here's the thing. Not only your mind creates fake scenarios, equates a failed sales call with being chased through the jungle by a tiger, but it also creates this thing people call failure. Failure does not exist. It's just a label you slap on unmet expectation. Real failure is either not starting or quitting. Everything else is just iterations. It's just evidence that you are in the game. So if you're not getting the results you want, it doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you're a fraud. It means that you haven't yet tried enough to deserve the win you're after. And the solution is not installing productivity apps or getting the perfect funnel. No. The solution is to try so many times that it's absolutely unreasonable to not get the result you're after. This is this Thomas Edison quote of, we've done 980 ways in which a light bulb does not work. We'll eventually figure out how it works. That is what I call failure-based success. Now, there's a magic to this. You have to do it the right way, because a lot of the failures that I see in the world are very random. People just randomly failing at things and not learning from it. To really deserve the success you want, you need to fail in 3 specific ways. First, you need to fail in the right direction, towards an actual goal that you have selected, towards something that truly motivates you. We call this an intention. You need to be able to decide what you want to be failing at, because that is when you turn those failures into meaningful feedback. We don't chase random goals. We don't fail randomly by trying stupid stuff. That's the first thing. The second thing is that we document the pattern. We want to learn why we fail. We want to find the causes of why something didn't meet our expectations. We need to be systematic about that pattern so we can improve over time. And the third thing is that you calibrate the effort you put in. See, if you're failing at everything that you're trying, you're gonna break, you're gonna burn out eventually. That probably means that you are not skilled enough yet to get what you want. But if you're not failing enough, that means that you are playing it safe. You are going to plateau. There's a sweet spot for optimal learning that will give us the perfect velocity towards a goal. And that is failing 15% of the time. There's a study out of the University of Minnesota that found that 15% is the ideal failure for efficient learning. Why? Because it's hard enough to force growth, but safe enough to maintain momentum. In other words, it triggers something called a flow state. That is a mental zone of adaptation. When deliberate discomfort meets consistent execution, that is when your rewire happens. That is when you start becoming better. That is what will guarantee success over time. That is what we help our clients eventually get to. We help them operate at the edge of the comfort zone every single day. So if you've tried every tactic under the sun, if you have created live operating system like most of our clients, if you've done all the Notion courses and you still don't have the results you want, it's because you are focused on the wrong thing. And the right thing to do is to rewire your mind. If you want our help, we can do that in about 6 weeks. Book a call with us, and if we can help you, we'll let you know. Now, the final idea here is that your ancient brain is not built for being successful in business. It's built to keep you safe, to help you survive, not thrive. But we don't live in caves anymore, and success today requires a discomfort your biology wasn't designed to actually seek. So you have 2 options. The first option is to play the game your brain evolved for, which is becoming a couch potato and banging Doritos every day. Or rewire your mind and go after the goals you truly want. You don't need another productivity tool. You need to rewire your nervous system and mind to not shut down when stakes are high, and to consistently seek the path of most growth, which leads to discomfort. You need evidence that discomfort won't kill you so you can reward it faster. If you don't get a result you want, it's not because you're behind, you're unqualified, you're broken, all that bullshit. No, it's because you're under-tested. The version of you who is a 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneur already exists within you. But in order to unearth it, you need to fail enough. You have to consistently go through discomfort in a productive way and learn from those patterns until you get where you want to be. That is the core of peak performance, is sustainable discomfort that leads somewhere that is actually productive. That is the magic of success. That is the science of getting what you want. It's about becoming the person who will do whatever it takes and fail as many times as it is needed to eventually learn the lessons that will guarantee the success you want. If you want our help to rewire your brain in about 6 weeks, more or less, book a call with us. If you look like the more than 300 guys who have given a fantastic transformation for, we will invite you to our institute. And if not, we're going to give you a proven roadmap that you can implement on your own. See you in the next video.